Earth is irrelevant. That's what Chancellor Virac said, with a sneer curling beneath his upper mandible, the kind only old reptiles could wear with dignity. Let them farm their blue rock and sing about peace, he hissed before it. High table. The galaxy burns and they pretend it's none of their concern. Laughter echoed around the war hall, loud, smug, contained dot until it WSN single quotes T. 2 days later. The Dominion's 3rd Star Division opened fire on a Terran listening outpost. On the edge of Vega 17, not a military target. Just weather satellites, deep space telescopes, and civilian combuoys. They called it a calculated tap, a reminder that neutrality had limits. The Terrans didn't respond. Not a broadcast, not a threat, not even a protest. Just silence. The Dominion. Admiral received a message 6 hours later. Not encrypted. No. Sender. Just a simple phrase burned into the transmission band. You brought the war to our door. He laughed. For 11 seconds. On Earth, deep beneath the Greenland arc, the command chamber lights flickered once. Not an alert, a signal. General Arden slowly stood, flanked by AI proxies and silent human staff. No one spoke. She raised one hand. Confirm. The breach, she said softly. Confirmed, replied a lieutenant. Vega relay array offline. Civilians included. Another pause. She didn't scream, didn't curse. She just whispered, "Wake it." The room went still. You mean? Wake it. Across the void, the Dominion Fleet commander was halfway through a celebratory toast when their long range sensors caught movement from the Sol line. It wasn't much. Just one. Ship. Big. Slow. Unarmed by all appearances. Its transponder code blinked. SO1. Scorch mark. No registry. The tech stammered. No known class. No IFF. But sir, it's heading directly toward the Dominion core line. Then intercept it, the Admiral barked. But no ships moved, because suddenly, all Dominion comms received a second message, this time in audio. You didn't think we'd respond. You thought we'd retreat. You thought wrong. On a far-flung station near the rim, a bounty hunter leaned back as he watched the feed go live. That's a Terran warpath pattern, he muttered. Since when do they have a warpath? Another asked. He just took a drag from a vapor line. They've never needed one, till now. The scorch mark kept moving. It didn't speak again, didn't broadcast, didn't flare shields, just drifted with mathematical precision toward Dominion space. And yet, every Dominion station it passed went dark. No impacts. No evidence of weapons. Just blacked out. Gone. Council sensors couldn't track it properly. The ship wasn't cloaked. It wasn't fast, but it didn't follow. Newtonian logic either. It pulsed. On scans like a ghost. No drive signatures. No energy trails. Just gravity shifts and heat pockets. And oh stars, whispered a council analyst. That's not a ship. In council chambers, the laughter stopped. What is Earth doing? Why won't they talk? Why does the ship look like it's waiting? No answers. Just the growing hum of fear, because the most terrifying sound in war is silence. Right before impact. The scorch mark finally stopped on the edge of the Dominion home sector. And for the first time, it did something. Not a weapon, not a broadcast. A hatch opened. And from its underside, thousands of pods fell, each one etched with the names of fallen. TERRNS. Medical units. Explorers. Children. Erased in wars. Earth never answered. Until now. In the Dominion capital, power flickered. In the war room, the Admiral stopped breathing. And in every corner of the galaxy, one thought echoed louder than the Council's entire fleet combined. They didn't start this war, but they're going to finish it. And that was before Earth even responded. No one heard from Vega 17. Again. Not the rescue fleets. Not the Council recon drones. Not even the smugglers. running black routes through asteroid drifts. The colony was simply gone. Not obliterated, not occupied, just just. Erased, even the light from the outpost's last transmission flickered strangely. Like reality itself refused to carry the image of what came next, and somewhere in that void, the scorch mark waited. Unmoving.unblinking. Like a predator who didn't need to roar. It just needed to exist. Council panic moved in phases. First came denial. Earth doesn't have the fleet strength, said Counselor G, scanning old Terran records. Their war logs end in pre-FTL conflicts. They are obsolete. Second came projection. This is a bluff. Psychological warfare. That ship is empty. An AI scare tactic at most. Then came silence, because one by one, every Dominion fleet sent to intercept the scorch mark disappeared. No wreckage. No distress calls. Only one thing was left behind. Pods. Hundreds of small sealed Terran pods. Each one hovering where the fleet used to be. Inside uniforms. Photos. Child drawings with the words, "Please come home" in shaky human script. Inside the scorch mark, General Arden stood in the command cathedral. No walls. Just layers of atmospheric glass and projected starfields. Wrapping around her. She watched the enemy fleets try to circle. Phase 1 complete, said Athena, the ship's sentient AI. Dominion outer patrols neutralized. Weapons? None. Deployed, she nodded slowly. Time to let them ask. In the council war room, Chaos.3 holograms stuttered on different frequencies, each screaming over the other. Their ship blinked into my sector. No comes. They don't even fire back, they just appear. Then Rivak, the quietest counselor, finally spoke. Do you hear it? The room stilled. Hear what? The rhythm. The others exchanged glances. Every time they act, it's like a pulse, precise, timed, measured. A technician added quietly, Sir, it matches a heartbeat. Human resting heart rate. 60 beats per minute. Someone laughed nervously. They're sinking a warship to a heartbeat? And then no one laughed at all. On the desert world of Maltrix 4, where resistance fighters held strongholds against Dominion rule, the sky turned blue for the first time in a decade. Clouds parted. Not from weather, but from presence. The scorch mark passed overhead. Didn't fire, didn't speak, but every Dominion flag in the capital city turned to ash in seconds. No one knew how. The one knew how. People fell silent. Then knelt, not out of reverence, but because they understood the difference between power and presence. And this? This was presence. Athena pulsed across the scorch mark's neural grid. Human reaction outside predicted range, she reported. They remember faster than expected. They're remembering why we left. Inside the ship's memory chamber, Arden reviewed old broadcasts, footage from 20 years ago, protests, pleas, Earth calling for peace while the galaxy mocked neutrality as cowardice. We were patient, she whispered. They called it fear. She touched a button. The chamber lit up. Names. Rows and rows of names. Colonists, scientists, engineers, farmers. Dead. UNACKNOWLEDGD. Forgotten. And now? Not anymore. Back on the Dominion capital world, Admiral Krylos Vex ordered a direct strike. Enough posturing, he barked. Bring it down. All fleets. Maximum yield. The Dominion Armada launched 12,000 strike-class warheads. All aimed at a single point. The scorch mark. The missiles hit. Exploded in light. Mushroom. Blooms in space. Sensor washout. Visual blackout. And when the light faded, the ship was still there. Not a scratch, but something had changed. For the first time, the scorch mark spoke. One line, one voice. Female. Calm, terrifying. Earth never aimed to win. We aimed to end. Back on Earth, news screens didn't show explosions. They showed farms. Reconstruction. The rebuilding of habitats destroyed in old. Silent wars. No Earth fleet gathered in orbit. No rally. No conscription. Because there was no war. Only closure. Inside a small house in Kansas, a former Terran lieutenant sat with his daughter, watching the sky flicker as come stream news. Are we fighting? She asked. He didn't answer at first. Then, no. She looked confused. But they attacked us. He smiled sadly. They attacked the Earth they thought existed. And us? He looked up. We're what's left of that Earth. On the Council's encrypted channel, a message appeared. No encryption. Just text. Bring your strongest. Bring your fire, and watch it vanish. This is not war. This is accounting. In a bar on the edge of the galaxy, a mercenary flicked through bounty contracts. His friend leaned over. Did you see? The Terrans? He nodded. You think they'll stop? The mercenary chuckled. They didn't start. As the scorch mark approached Dominion Prime, no alarm sounded. No shields raised, but across thousands of worlds, people stood still. Listening. To the silence between heartbeats. Because now they knew what it meant. It meant Earth had noticed. And when Earth notices, things disappeared. Dominion Prime broadcasted a message to the entire galaxy. We will not be intimidated by a relic ship from a forgotten world. Earth's silence will be met with fire. It was bold. Calculated. And utterly empty. Because by the time the broadcast hit relay stations, Earth had already spoken back without saying a word. The scorch mark hovered just outside orbital range. Not cloaked, not armed, not even moving, just waiting. And that was the fear, because real predators don't. Snarled. They wait for the prey to make a mistake, and the Dominion did. They moved the fleet. All of it. A 400-ship formation of dreadnoughts, carriers, and hunters. The kind of fleet that had broken 6 rebellions and raised half a dozen star empires. They surrounded the Terran ship like it was an old animal ready for culling. But they didn't notice something crucial. The stars behind the scorch mark began to vanish. One by one. As if space itself bent inward. Inside the scorch mark, General Arden stood at the helm. No emotion. No visible command system. Just a seamless black floor and a pulse that vibrated like a heartbeat through every bulkhead. Athena's voice flickered from the air. They have encircled us. Confirmation. All Dominion High Command present. Protocol Ares authorized. Arden closed her eyes. Protocol Ares. The ship did not change form. It did not shimmer or hum or burn. It breathed. The hull dilated once, like lungs expanding. Then the silence hit. A wave of nothing. Radio blackouts. Visual static. Gravitational flux. Across 3 systems. Dominion sensors fried in their sockets. Engineers collapsed from feedback. AI control clusters imploded. They didn't understand. The scorch mark wasn't a warship. It was a containment vessel. And the thing it contained was Earth's last memory of war. Commander Lithin of the Dominion flagship screamed into the void. All caps last memory of war. Commander Lithin of the Dominion flagship screamed into the void. Earth's last minion to the void. Ship's fire. Fire. Nothing answered. His screen showed static. His crew bled from their noses. The bridge lights flickered red. He looked outside. The scorch mark remained still, but the stars around it were gone. And in their place letters, carved by absence, rendered in unlight. Across kilometers of warping space, a phrase burned into the fabric of reality itself. You took from US. Now we take you. On Earth, they didn't celebrate. The news showed no parades. Children still played in fields. Parents worked their shifts. But in the deep government archives of Geneva, a man named Lauren, a historian, not a general, was asked to open a file that hadn't been accessed in 80 years. The file was called Contingency Soul Reclamation. Inside were coordinates, activation codes, and a note from a long-dead president. This is not revenge, it's preservation. If they ever make us remember what we're capable of, God help them. Back in Dominion space, the first ship collapsed without being touched. Its hull warped inward like paper folding through dimensions. Then another. Then another. They didn't explode. They simply ceased. Matter. Rewritten. Mass reversed. Soundless obliteration. One by one, the proud ships of the Dominion High Armada disappeared from existence, and still, Earth said nothing. Athena updated in monotone. 126 vessels removed. Command lines broken. Dominion Chancellor escape pod launched. Arden nodded once. Catch it. A pause. Caught. No blast. No collision. The escape pod stopped mid-drift. Held in invisible gravity. Then rotated until the viewport faced the scorch mark, and the man inside Chancellor. Krylos saw it. Not the ship. The memory inside. It was an image, projected across the black glass of space. Photo of Earth. Burned. Cracked. Abandoned. Cities. Skies red from their last planetary war. The last time Earth truly fought. Krylos whimpered. Not because of the destruction, but because of the line that followed. We will never do this to ourselves again. So we saved it for you. Inside the escape pod, Krylos screamed. He begged, swore allegiance, promised reparations, resources, unconditional surrender. And then he did the only thing left. He prayed to a Terran god he didn't believe in, because no gods answered the Dominion anymore. Only Earth did, and Earth was listening now, on the edge of known space. The pirate bar known as Station 9 fell silent. Bounty boards shut down. Drinks left untouched. Because one by one, the feeds began showing it. The scorch mark, not firing. Just undoing things. One ship. One fleet. One empire at a time. Captain whispered, they didn't build a weapon. They built an apology wrapped in vengeance. Another corrected him. No, they built a mirror. In the council chambers, chaos unraveled. Some screamed for peace talks, others demanded vengeance, but none had a plan. Because all Terran systems remained quiet. No fleets moved. No diplomats sent. Only one presence out there, the one they ignored, now reshaping the galaxy without lifting a hand. Back inside the scorch mark, Arden looked to the memory wall. Thousands of names glowed faintly. No war heroes, just civilians. Scientists. Volunteers. Forgotten by the galaxy. Now remembered by fire. Athena pulsed softly. The Chancellor's pod has ceased transmission. Remaining Dominion presence, none. Arden nodded. Course? Soul? Home. She exhaled for the time in days. Make it quiet. The scorch mark turned, and for a heartbeat only one. Every telescope in the galaxy caught the impossible. The stars behind it returned. Not gradually. Instantly. Like they were never missing. And then the ship was gone. No flash. No trail. Just gone. And that silence? That silence wasn't the end. It was a reminder. They told Earth not to interfere. Earth agreed. They warned Earth not to escalate. Earth listened. They brought war to Earth's doorstep. And Earth opened the door. The Dominion, no longer existed. Not officially. Not militarily. Its fleets had been devoured by silence. Its Chancellor last seen floating in a pod that never returned. The very systems it once ruled had shut their gates, changed their flags, burned their archives, not because they were defeated, but because they had seen the face of something older than conquest, A Terran warship that never fired a shot, yet made the stars weep. And now, the scorch mark was moving again. Not toward the Council, not toward any battlefield. It was heading straight into the galactic core, and no one knew why. Inside the Hall of Strategists on Velcor Prime, Grand Marshal Eric studied the trajectory with shaking hands. "That ship isn't following logic," he muttered. A voice behind him, young, defiant, spoke up. "Maybe Earth doesn't use logic." Eric didn't turn. He whispered, "That's what terrifies me." The Council reconvened in emergency session. No messages. No threats. Not even a response to our distress signals. "They're not at war," Counselor Rena whispered. "They're on a pilgrimage." That word stopped the room cold. A pilgrimage? To? What? On the bridge of the scorch mark, Athena reported softly. Destination locked. Coordinates: Sector 0. Galactic Core. Estimated time to emergence: 27 minutes. General Arden stood still, not blinking. Not moving. Only her voice gave her life. "Prep Protocol Kairos." Athena hesitated. "That protocol has never been activated. Its consequences. I didn't ask for safety. I asked for truth. Prep it." Protocol Kairos had no weapon systems. No stealth modules. It did one thing. It revealed Earth's first contact log. Not the public one. The hidden file that predated all modern diplomacy. The day when Earth met the rest of the galaxy and chose silence. 27 years ago, humanity was offered a seat at the table. They declined, because the table was soaked in blood, arrogance, and thinly veiled colonialism. The Council had laughed, called it primitive honor. They said Earth would beg for relevance, but Earth hadn't begged. Earth had waited. And when Earth returned, it wasn't with ambassadors. It was with the scorch mark. In the great archive of Kalisar. A monk watched the feed on an ancient plasma screen. He had no rank. No military clearance, just a memory. A story his grandfather once told of a man named Elijah Holt. The Terran commander who ordered Earth's fleets buried instead of used. "They're not coming to destroy," he whispered. "They're coming to show us what we forgot." Athena spoke softly now, almost reverently, memory stream active. A voice crackled through the walls of the scorch mark. Mail. Holder, measured. "This is Elijah Holt, Admiral, Earth Defense Fleet. If this message plays, it means we're doing the unthinkable. It means the galaxy finally made us remember what we buried." A pause. "We aren't here to win. We're here to remind you what losing feels like." Back in the Council war room, panic escalated. "What is Sector 0? What's there?" Nothing. No planets. No stations. Not even star maps. It was black space, a blind spot, deliberately left unmapped since the early galactic age, because deep in that dark pocket lay the one thing the galaxy feared more than Earth. A Terran artifact. Something lost. Something buried. Now. Awakened. The scorch mark arrived. No fanfare. No burn trail. Just a sudden presence, like the air shifted around it. Before them floated a broken structure, drifting in the core's intense gravity. It looked like a station, but not alien. Terrn. Old. Pre-FTL. Era. Impossible. Yet there it was. Athena whispered, "Welcome home." General Arden stepped forward. The ship opened itself, hatches unsealed. Inner corridors lit, gravity engaged. No crew moved, because this part was meant for one person only. She entered alone, walked the bridge of a ghost. Inside was a body preserved in stasis. The namatag said, "A DM Elijah Holt," and on the console beside him, a single button. She pressed it, and the galaxy screamed. Every comm system, from warship to market stall, activated at once. Every species. every language, every screen. Broadcasting one thing, Elijah Holt's voice. This is Earth's last message. You made war a game, made power a ladder, made life expendable. But we remember the day we first reached for the stars. We remember who we were before we learned to kill for it. And then we tried silence. You interpreted it as weakness. You were wrong. The broadcast wasn't a warning. It was a record. Thousands of Terran war moments played in sequence. Genocide stopped by sacrifice. Cities defended with bare hands. One clip showed a human Marine taking a plasma shot to the chest, then detonating a nuke to save a colony of aliens who later betrayed Earth. Another showed a pilot dragging enemy escape pods into safety, then being gunned down by the same fleet hours later. Over and over. Kindness. Betrayed. Mercy. Exploited. Patience. Mocked. Until finally silence. The council tried to cut the feed. They failed. Because it wasn't a hack. It was memory. And memories, once released, can't be deleted. Some worlds turned off their screens. Others watched through tears. But the ones who feared most were those who never knew. Generations who had only heard of Earth and rumors. Children raised on tales of savage Terrans who fled the stars, now watching them return not with fleets, but with a funeral. For the galaxy. Or for themselves. No one was sure which. In a lab orbiting Varelian 3. A Xenthian AI cracked a Terran file it had intercepted. It began screaming, not because of the data, but because it saw something. A list of names. Every council species. And beside each name, final response method. Hers was marked Echo Protocol. 7-second delay. She didn't know what it meant, only that it had been written 92 years ago, before she was even built. Back on the scorch mark, Arden stood beside Holt's body. She looked down. Then whispered, "They thought Earth would forget." She turned to Athena. "Let's make sure they remember." The ship moved again, but this time, not with stealth, not in silence. Its engines lit up, visible across systems. A final journey, heading not toward any enemy, but home. Earth. And the whole galaxy would have to watch it return. Watch the weapon they laughed at, the species they mocked. Walk home with fire in its shadow, and peace on its shoulders, because that was the last message Earth ever sent. We did not come to rule. We came to close the book. The scorch mark returned to Earth. Not with a bang. Not with fleets flanking it. It arrived like a ghost ship, gliding through memories. Every telescope in the galaxy focused on it. Every newsfeed, every live stream, every backwater pirate station watching the return of something they never understood and could never control. Because the moment Earth's ship entered Sol, the galaxy held its breath, not in fear of destruction, but fear of judgment. They didn't know which was worse. Down on Earth, there were no red carpets. No medals. No standing ovations. Just a silent landing. In a cradle of mountains, older than most galactic civilizations. Arden stepped off the ship, dusted her uniform, and said nothing. The ship powered down behind her like a beast falling into slumber. And the war? It didn't follow her, because it never started here. They brought it. And Earth simply returned it. And the Galactic Council. Silence ruled. No vote. No resistance. Only realization. For all their centuries of dominance, they'd missed the most critical truth of all. Humanity wasn't building empires. It was building restraint. Every weapon Earth made wasn't for conquest. It was a lock on something inside themselves, and when the galaxy picked that lock, it found out why Earth had chained itself. Admiral Taran of the surviving Lentrex Alliance broke protocol and stood in the open floor. They didn't retaliate, he said. They didn't even declare war. He turned, gaze hollow. They remembered. He left the chamber before anyone replied. Across the stars, Planets once loyal to the Dominion lowered their banners, not out of surrender, but shame. They hadn't been beaten. They'd been allowed to survive. That mercy echoed louder than any weapon, because it forced them to look inward, to ask the one question Earth never needed to answer. What are we when no one fears us? Inside the Terran archives, Athena recorded her final entry. Protocol complete. Threat neutralized. Memory intact. Earth endures. And that was it. No final flourish. No victory speech. Just facts. Because truth doesn't scream. It stands. A child on the colony of Garos 5 drew a picture of the scorch mark. Not exploding. Not firing. Just hovering in space. Quiet. Beneath it, she wrote what her father had whispered the night the Dominion fell. They didn't come to destroy us. They came to show us what destruction looks like. In the end, Earth went silent again, and this time, no one mocked it, because now they understood. Earth's silence wasn't absence. It was containment, and that silence? It spoke louder than any fleet. They thought humanity forgot. They thought Earth was done. They thought the wreck that wandered through the void was nothing but a joke. But when the stars began vanishing, when fleets disappeared in screams that never left their lips, when judgment came wrapped in memory instead of missiles, they understood the truth. It was never a wreck. It was a warning. And now that warning sleeps. But it dreams, and the galaxy? It dreams with it.